Hello, we're still on order of operations, and now we're going to talk about grouping symbols. And when I say grouping symbols, I mean parentheses and brackets. Okay, and these grouping symbols are what this letter P stands for when it says parentheses as our first step when we're evaluating expressions. Now, why is this important? When we do not have grouping symbols, like in this case here, I would have to follow the order of operations as usual. I would have to look if there are any parentheses and then exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. And the first thing I need to do here is multiplication. So I would have to multiply first and then I add. Okay? Now, in this case, if I have grouping symbols, in this case parentheses, the order of operation tells me I have to do those first. I have to do parentheses first before I do anything else. So that would mean that I would have to add first and then multiply times 3. Remember, whenever we have a number in front of a parentheses, this means multiplication. Notice there's no operation in between the 3 and the parentheses. There's no plus here. There's no minus. There's no division. This stands for multiplication, okay? So here, no grouping symbols. I would have to multiply first and then add. Here with grouping symbols, I have to add first and then multiply, okay? So there's a difference here. In this case, I would get 6 plus 5. Which is 11, and in the other case I would have to do 2 plus 5 first. Whatever is inside the parentheses, that's what I do first. I would get 7, and then I would multiply by 3, and that would give you 21. Okay, so make sure whenever you have grouping symbols that you do whatever is inside there first as your first step. Okay, let's do some examples, and these examples I am going to give you are straight from your book. This is example 2 in your book on section 1.3. Okay, and letter A says to evaluate this expression, and it's 8 times 17 minus 2.3. Okay, now notice we have parentheses here. That means automatically I have to do this operation inside the parentheses first. Okay, so what's 17 minus 2.3? That should be 14.7. Okay, 14.7. And now I bring this down times 8. Notice I wrote a parenthesis because even though I've already solved what's in here, this parenthesis still means multiplication with 8. So I can write 8 and the parentheses with whatever I solved in there. I can write it like this. I can also write it like this. 8 times 14.7. Okay? I can also write that. So when you multiply 8, let me get my calculator really quickly. When you multiply 8 times 14.7, you will get 117.6. Okay? And that is your answer. Let's do the other example. Let's do letter B. Letter B in your book says 14 plus 6 divided by 12 minus 7. Okay, now I have a division. And to work this problem out, what do I do first? Do I add the numerator, subtract the denominator, divide? What do we do first? Whenever you have a division like this, the first step you're going to do here is you're going to rewrite it. You're going to rewrite it as a division like this. This is what you're going to do. You take what's on top here, all of this, and you place parentheses on it, okay? And then you write divided by, and this whole thing in the bottom you rewrite with parentheses, okay? And once you've rewritten it, now we can solve using the order of operations. Remember, the first thing we do is parentheses. So that means I have to solve whatever's in here first and whatever's in here first. So both, I'll start with this one and then I'll do this one. 14 plus 6, that is 20. Bring down the division symbol, and 12 minus 7, that's 5. And now I end up with a simple operation. 20 divided by 5, you get 4. So remember, whenever you have a quotient, a division like this one, rewrite it, take the numerator, write it in parentheses, take the denominator and write it in parentheses, and then do whatever's inside the parentheses first, okay? And now letter C doesn't fit, so I'm going to scroll back up and let me erase some of this stuff so I can fit letter C in here, okay? For letter C, in your book, example C, it says 5 times a bracket, and then inside the bracket we have 36, and we have a minus, and we have a parentheses with 13 plus 9 inside that parentheses, and then we close the bracket. Okay, this is what we have for letter C. Now this one's a little bit tricky. Notice I have grouping symbols. I have two kinds of grouping symbols here. I have brackets and I have parentheses. Okay, now this is how we work them. Whenever you have grouping symbols inside other grouping symbols, we do the innermost parentheses first. So we work from the inside out. Okay, so here we have a grouping symbol inside the bracket. So we do the one that's inside first. Okay, so let's do that. Let me grab pink. I'll do this grouping symbol first. Okay, so 13 plus 9, that's 22. And here's what I do. I bring down the bracket. Over here, I'm going to bring down the minus sign and the 36 and the bracket and everything else. All I did was simplify this parentheses, and everything else I just bring it down just like it is. Okay, now I still have a grouping symbol here. I have multiplication and a grouping symbol. So parentheses go first. Remember, parentheses also refers to brackets. So let me figure this out first, that's inside the grouping symbol, before I multiply times 5. So 36 minus 22 is 14. And then times 5. Since I've resolved the grouping symbol, I don't need it anymore. Okay? You could, if you want, write 5 times bracket 14. That still means 5 times 14, okay? And that will equal 70. And there is your answer for letter C. Now I want you to go ahead and practice this skill in your book. I want you to do these exercises here. The checkpoint. I want you to evaluate all of these expressions, okay? And hit pause. I will come back and I will give you the answers to all of these. Just the answers I'll give you. If you get some of them wrong, then go back and try again. Try and see what you're doing wrong to get to the answer that I'm going to give you, okay? So hit pause and try them out. This is your practice. And then check, okay? Here are the answers for the practice problems I asked you to do. I hope you got all of them right. If you didn't, please hit pause or stop the video, go back, look at the examples I explained again, and try again, okay? Look and see what you're doing wrong. I will see you in the next video. And when you get to class on Tuesday, you'll be ready to do the problems that I'll leave assigned to you. Okay? I will see you in the next video.